recording, and now streaming. Huge. Y'all can't even fucking hear me. Hello. Okay. We're now streaming. Let me try to get all my bullshit set up. Stream manager. Hello. We are here. We're continuing more Minecraft. We're really only going to be on here for a couple hours, I think, because I need to go back to... Holy shit, can I get a sentence out? I need to make meal prep. So yeah, I can't be streaming till like midnight tonight because I have shit to do. But it's okay. Well, let me put it this way: it's very possible I will come back. Hello, Sammy. How are you? How's meal prep so far? Oh, my bad. Let me just stop streaming. That's on me. That's on me for real. Right. God damn. Oh, holy flashbang. Okay. Okay. But anyway, yes. So I briefed right before you got in here, I think. But I'm planning to stream for a few hours and then I have to do meal prep myself. I know. It was so it was so crazy. It was so insane. I still don't I don't know. I'm kind of pissed at myself that I haven't been able to figure it out, or that I hadn't done it so long ago. You know, the way I view myself, I feel like I'd be the kind of guy to figure that shit out like immediately, but I couldn't. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't, because I didn't want to like get a virus or some bullshit. I don't know. Now I really don't fucking care. So I don't know. I hop in a stream every single afternoon and dance around my full gov and where I live. So it's, you know what, if they want to get me, then they can skim my, hours and hours and hours of stream footage. But anyway, are you making the same kind of thing for meal prep? Because I mean, I'm kind of planning to. That's all I have supplies for. So no shame here. But you know it. Yep. Have you only just started, or how far into it are you? Because I know you said you were gonna start relatively soon, and that was like what, half an hour to an hour ago, was it? I guess I am physically able to check, so why the hell don't I? Yeah, that was about 50 minutes ago. So you must be kind of close to... Fire. That's sick. You know what's funny? I was thinking about it. Holy shit. Look at this shit. I can't see in the water, but at least it's fucking beautiful. What the hell? That's cool. You're gonna make oatmeal raisin. Oh, dude, Sammy, we need to just like, oh my god, we need to have a day where we're just cooking and baking shit the whole day, and then we just have shit on in the background. Like that genuinely sounds so fun to me. Oh, because you ate lunch. So did I. W lunch. W lunch. Yes, we need to have a Big Back Day. I swear. I swear. If you're up for it. If you're up for it. I guess. I don't know why you wouldn't be, but, you know, just in case. But, dude, oh my god. No way. Okay, wait, I might not have cinnamon, but that's because I'm a college student with... How do they not have cinnamon? What the freak? That's like one of the basic spices that you should have in a house when you're, you know, established. Oh, holy lag. But anyway, yeah, so plan for today, at least for a while, is to keep making glass for the BBG, I guess. And we'll put or not Subnautica, we'll put Forensic Files on very soon. Can you imagine if I like put my own stream on as like buffer noise in my own stream? Oh Jesus. I think Sammy can only handle one stream of mine at a time. And myself, actually. Two Thomases talking over each other? Hell nah. What a fucking time. My goodness. Okay. It's just cinema. It's just cinema over and over again. What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. And then I'll do a third stream where I react to my own reacting of my own stream. And then it'll just be perfect. I'll just complete the cycle of YouTube bullshit. Oh my lord. God, every time I look at anything in this game, I just get more mad at myself for not doing any of this earlier. And I can't see. Where the hell is the land? My god. Holy flashbang. Alright. We need to keep a counter of how many times I say that, because I know it's a lot since I've gotten the shaders. Some things are just so damn bright. My god. Okay, I think I'm gonna collect like 4 stacks of sand here, and then I'll go back, start smelting it, and then I'll put on Forensic Files. Does that sound good? Good, because I know it's good. I know it's good. You know, come on. Oh my god, drowning. Holy drowning. But yeah. Other than some of the topics being covered, last night's stream, we had some pretty solid Forensic Files picks, just random ones. One was literally in Iowa City. I'm sure you've seen that one or remember that one. But I was like, whoa! Holy Iowa City mention. Not that I know where that place is or live anywhere near that. What? Who said that? What? I didn't say anything. Jesus. Okay. Fuck it, I'm going over there. I hate drowning over and over and over again. Much like there's no fucking way. Fuck off. Also, as good as the shaders are, Sammy, if you are watching actively, you don't have to be. But if you see me lag really often, and it kind of like is to the point where you just like, you know, man, this is lagging a lot. If it ever gets to that point, let me know, because it is the shaders probably, but I might be able to like find one that's less crazy for my computer to handle. So just keep an eye out for it. It's not, yeah. No. You're good. You're good. You're good. Literally zero pressure at all. I'm just saying. Because I mean, I know that the request is already, you know, whatever. Because most of the time you're just listening to it, and that's okay. So. What was the forensic file? Which one? The Iowa City one? I forget what it was called, but it was actually about the Iowa City one. I forget. Let me go back to my history. Oh, I think it was called All That Glitters Is Gold. you okay, I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to say everything about it for spoilers, but you should watch that at least at the end, because I think it was funny. This guy, you know, it was the topic that I don't love hearing about. However, it was based in Iowa City and was not completely about that stuff, I guess, kind of. But yeah, basically this chopped ass dude killed like these two women, or maybe I'm thinking of a different case, but like, I don't know. It was basically like the girl that he killed, he got ratted out because the girl that he killed had glitter on her body from a party, and some glitter master figured this out. And he got, you know, canned for it. I'm not sure, but you know, spoilers for the bit that I do in the stream. I basically say that when or if we go out, we have to wear glitter just in case we get kidnapped, you know. That was the joke. I said yes we are putting body glitter on when we go out. But I don't know. I have to find a whole different kind of vibe to pull that off. But I have no idea. I gotta be close to a star. Okay. I've just been getting way too much sand. Okay. That's gotta be enough. I'm going back home. Fuck this. Okay. Anyway, now that I have a bunch of sand, I can actually go back to Forensic Files. Now that I have it open, too, so. Huge W. Okay. Okie dokie. Come on. Damn. There's also something with the shaders that also like blurs, that like slightly blurs all blocks at a distance. Because it makes mountain ranges look insane. I already do. I already do assume that. So, but you know, when you watch it back and figure out that I was having a whole conversation with you, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. But I do assume that. I do assume that. But did you oh my god, fully repeating yourself. Did you hear me talk about the Iowa City Forensic Files video or no? W delay. Okay. No. Stop. It was basically one about glitter. This dude got canned because the girl that he like kidnapped and killed was wearing body glitter from a party that she was at. So I said that the next time we go out, we're wearing body glitter. We are wearing body glitter. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to pull it off, you know, or something like that. So, for safety reasons, that's what I'm saying. But anyway, yeah, and the dude was like chopped too. Hold on, I can find it. Actually.
Only piece of evidence that AK-4 Megan died.
Oh wait, truck. This isn't the one in Iowa City, is it?
A miss or
oh wait,
get-go attack. Some
this on a public road.
She was still alive when she was removed.
Hold on.
Up next, a bullet-riddled car, a missing driver, and no witnesses.
It would seem she was still alive when she was removed from the car.
Who would do such a thing like this on a public roadway?
Was it an ambush or a random attack?
This is my defenseless little girl who
Hides the answer.
Hold on, I'm just waiting for the keyword here. If it's there.
In Southern California, like
Fuck! Wait, it's the wrong video. But still, point still stands about the body glitter.
Multiple times.
an apartment complex is the site of a Up next, an apartment complex is the site of a brutal murder.
She was stabbed multiple times. It looked like it was sexually.
To the body,
During that sex crime.
dancer at the key. Husband. 35-year-old Julianne Braun worked as a consumer loan officer in Fresno, California.
Where the hell is it? What? I know I watched one with Iowa City mentioned. I know I did. This makes me sound actually insane. I might want to like watch the video back. I swear. Or was it this guy?
Falls ill. Up next, a young man falls ill and no one knows why.
Maybe he had been exposed to something through his work.
This must go in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Fuck. Hold on, chat. Hold on. Trust, I'm not insane. One of them was about Iowa City.
I am shocked about how many times I hear about homeowners being surprised at the end of a job with a...
I bet that's great.
A successful real estate professional is brutally murdered.
It's not this one, surely. You already watched this.
Find a
composite sketch and you're like,
I hate who done.
people will kill.
On a hot summer day, a married couple decided to look at a sample home.
Fuck! Sammy, I'm not insane, but I swear one of them was about Iowa City. Maybe it is this one. I promise I'm not crazy.
A woman's suicide raised questions about why she did it. Was it depression, anger, revenge? Until a forensic pathologist questioned. Her dream was to marry a successful man.
Fuck! God damn it. All but certain. We're watching this one. I don't know. This is one we're actually watching. It's not about Iowa City. I don't fucking know. It's called All But Certain. It could have been Smoke in Your Eyes. Oh my god, that is down the line there. Hold on, chat. Hold, wait.
A suspicious fire swept through an apartment, killing 2 young women. In the ashes, and closer look at Denver.
Engine 3, structure fire.
A suspicious fire, cigarette. On a spring night in March of 1999, firefighters in Iowa City rushed.
There it is. Fuck! God. At least I'm not crazy. At least I'm not crazy. But I should have been able to find that. That's my bad. That's on me for real. Chat, she thinks I'm crazy. Okay. All but certain. Hopefully it's not weird.
A child witnesses a brutal murder.
I had to point out my uncle.
They had a little 6-year-old girl who was saying it was her Uncle Clarence. Case closed.
Years later, the girl recanted, but the courts wouldn't let him go.
Get a load
Even
of this guy.
DNA wasn't enough.
Do they want me to hand them the killer on a silver platter? Okay, that's what we'll do.
June 7, 1998, was a very hot night in Barberton, Ohio. Hoping for a breeze, 58-year-old Judy Johnson left her front door ajar. Sometime after midnight, her granddaughter Brooke heard a commotion coming from the kitchen. When she went to look, she saw
I can't
a
fucking
man
see in the dark.
beating her grandmother.
I
What?
was scared, so I ran back to my grandma's room and covered up my head with a blanket.
But the intruder followed her into the bedroom, knocked her unconscious, sexually assaulted her, and left her for dead. Miraculously, Brooke regained consciousness several hours later, but
Brooke.
found her grandmother dead.
Fuck.
Brooke then ran to a neighbor's house for help. Incredibly, the neighbor made her wait outside.
Part of my left ear was missing and my whole
Incredibly?
left cheek was swollen. But she told me that her kids had to finish eating and she needed to get them dressed and everything. So she left me sitting out on her porch for like 45 minutes.
Eventually, the neighbor drove Brooke home. Later that day, at the hospital, Brooke gave police a description of her attacker.
He looked like my uncle. He had dark hair. He
What?
was about the same height.
What?
And that's the only person I could think that he looked like.
Her uncle, Clarence Elkins, was the victim's son-in-law. He lived about an hour's drive away and had no criminal record and no history of violence. His wife, Melinda, couldn't believe that Clarence would kill her mother.
I remember my reaction distinctly when he told me that my mom had been murdered. I mean, I actually doubled over in pain, you know, like in a fetal position almost.
Clarence denied any involvement, but was quickly taken into custody.
And I said to them, yes, I am his wife. And yes, I know that some women do stand up for their man and lie for them. But you're missing the biggest point here. That was my mother. And I want the person who did this to pay. And I'm telling you right now, it was not Clarence.
But police discovered that Clarence might have had a motive to hurt Judy Johnson.
Oh, fuck.
Their theory is that Clarence has developed a hatred for his mother-in-law because the mother-in-law was allegedly interfering in his marriage with Melinda.
Oh my
There was
God.
a woman who said she was Judy's best friend, saying she was present when Clarence Elkins called Judy about a week before the murder and threatened to kill her. That's pretty damning stuff.
Police found no physical evidence linking Clarence Elkins to the murder, but the eyewitness testimony placed him at the scene.
They asked me if I would point who hurt me and my grandma out. And I remember I had to spin around in this little spinny seat and I had to point out my uncle.
For her to point at Clarence and say that's who did this to me, that was it. That's all I needed.
On June 4th, 1999, Clarence Elkins was convicted of first-degree murder and sexual assault.
Wow.
He was sentenced to 55 years in prison.
Okay, this is like going too quick. Did bro actually do it? There's no way.
I screamed. I turned around to my sister and I said, you know, he didn't do this, and I collapsed.
Oh.
And it was just so chaotic.
They had a little 6-year-old girl who was saying it was her Uncle Clarence. Case closed.
But Brooke later said she wasn't sure what or who she saw.
Right.
Based on the eyewitness testimony of a 6-year-old girl, Clarence Elkins was convicted of killing his mother-in-law and for the sexual assault and attempted murder of his niece.
Police that very morning searched Clarence's car for blood, for hair fibers, for things, not a trace.
God
Car
fucking.
was bushed. Searched his
Why
house,
can't I hit a zombie?
drains of his
Oh my
shower
God.
for blood, particles, and things of that nature. Came up completely clean.
Holy shit.
Clarence's wife, Melinda, was sure that her niece Brooke was mistaken when she identified Clarence as the man who attacked her. After all, she was only a child at the time, and the house was dark.
Shocked. I mean, to think that you can convict someone on ID testimony, let alone a 6-year-old child, with no physical evidence to back it up.
Yeah.
How can this happen?
Sure enough, 4 years after the murder, Brooke Sutton, now 10 years old, recanted her testimony.
What?
Do you think today that Uncle Clarence was the same man you saw in the kitchen that night with your grandma? No.
Bro.
I just had always had doubts. I knew I was wrong because I put him in there.
So why the...
And I
Oh
wasn't
my god.
positively sure.
That's crazy.
Melinda petitioned
bro.
the court for a new trial and was denied.
How does this get
So
to be
Melinda
about
took
butts,
matters
dude?
into her own hands and decided to conduct her own investigation, creating a list of all known criminal offenders living near her mother's home.
I had started a suspect list shortly after my mom's murder. I mean, I was trying to comprehend who would do this to my mom. Who had access to her? Who did she know?
And she also sought help from an expert on wrongful convictions, Martin Yant. Together, they pored over the case file and discovered some important pieces of information. First, the witness who testified Clarence Elkins threatened Judy Johnson's life during a telephone call also claimed Judy called 911 to report the threat to police. But there was no evidence Judy Johnson ever called 911.
What?
The 911 call should have been logged. It was obvious no such phone call had been made.
Huh?
They also discovered that the coroner took vaginal swabs from Judy Johnson during the autopsy. On those
Gotcha.
swabs, lab tests found a substance called acid phosphatase, an enzyme found in the male prostate gland.
Oh.
But those swabs were never tested for DNA.
Sammy,
To be
did you
fair,
know that from your job?
Technology in
Or no?
forensic science is constantly improving.
Something
6 years
phosphatase,
after
did you
the
know that
murder,
from your job?
Melinda Elkins received permission from the court to test the swab taken from her mother's autopsy. The forensic lab was able to identify a DNA profile
Now you do.
from
Now
that
you do.
swab.
You're gonna get
As
a raise
Melinda
because of me.
always claimed, the DNA
Wait.
did not
Let's go back.
belong
Let's go
to
back for
Clarence.
review. Back for review.
Mother's autopsy DNA profile from that 6 years after.
Technology in forensic science is constantly improving. To be
Those swabs were never tested to make a prostate
Acid phosphatase. Acid phosphatase.
gland. Phosphatase, an enzyme found in the male prostate gland.
W knowledge.
The
Okay.
DNA profile. The DNA did not belong
God
to
damn it.
Clarence Elkins.
W
We
learning.
knew at that point
Exactly.
Clarence Elkins was innocent. We didn't know the name of the true perpetrator, but we knew his DNA profile.
So for the second time, Melinda Elkins petitioned the court for a new trial. Prosecutors argued that the DNA results were unreliable since the swab might have been contaminated. And the judge agreed, refusing to grant Clarence a new trial.
And
Damn.
I was livid. How dare they? And do they want me to hand them the killer on a silver platter? Okay, that's what we'll do.
So now, Melinda decided to take the next step. She would conduct her own forensic investigation. To learn how to go about it, she discovered the
Independence.
world of forensic television.
I think initially what attracted me to Forensic Files was when I first turned it on, there was this big, loud voice of murder in blah, blah, blah town, and Forensic Files investigates. And I thought, wow, I'm going to watch this. I was learning how to gather DNA, how to preserve it. There was a lot of different episodes that I watched that kind of put everything together.
Melinda decided to take her list of the convicted criminals living in her mother's neighborhood and surreptitiously collect their DNA samples for testing.
Oh, brother.
She begins teaching herself how to do investigations. She watches shows like Forensic Files, takes notes, and starts putting that into practice in terms of investigating suspects.
That's kind of
collecting
crazy.
DNA, all the things that a private investigator would do.
Melinda followed these men to local bars and restaurants to collect their DNA.
Wow.
From anything they might have left behind.
From their freaking blizzards.
I
Holy
would have
callback.
to
All right.
flirt with these people. I
Oh.
would get their either a cigarette butt, or I've gotten their beer bottle, I've gotten their drinking glass.
Using her own money and contributions solicited from her
Not
website,
their blizzards.
freeclarence.com.
Good.
Melinda hired
No.
a private lab to
No,
test
not the
these items
blizzards.
for DNA. Unfortunately, none of the samples matched the DNA found on her mother.
Fuck.
In the meantime, Clarence Elkins languished in jail.
She knew
I really
in
can't
her heart
decide
that her
yet.
husband did not commit
It's
this
kind of weird that she's
and
doing all
she
this.
was absolutely
but
committed to getting justice, not just for
you know,
Clarence,
at least she's
but for her
trying.
mother.
They,
For
I feel like,
years, Clarence
yeah,
Elkins
I feel like they keep a lot of these methods very vague, other than just saying using this machine they found such and such. You know, maybe she genuinely watched the Blizzard episode and said, "Oh, right, so if that's all I need, and I just need to buy this tens of thousands of dollars machine to do it, why the hell not?" But it is kind of crazy that she's like LARPing being a private investigator, essentially.
sat in prison for a crime he claimed he didn't do, while his
I don't
wife,
know.
Melinda, worked continuously to free him.
So she endured tremendous skepticism and insults along the way. People feel that Melinda somehow some big publicity hawk.
The prosecutors wanted to portray me as just some dumb old hick from the country who was, trying to get this publicity and have my name out there and my face shown on TV as being my 15 minutes of fame.
Then, one day, Melinda picked up the morning newspaper and read an article about Earl Mann, who had been convicted for sexually assaulting his 3 daughters.
Oh boy.
I first wanted to look at Earl Mann's picture. I went online under the Ohio offender search.
Okay,
and I
now we
pulled
gotta
up his
look because
picture,
it's talking
and it was
about images.
uncanny how Clarence and him
Okay, no, Queen.
looked so similar.
Sammy, are you ready for this? Have you seen this yet? Did you hear the words that she said? It looks so similar. You heard those words? Are we dead ass? Are we dead ass? Be so fucking for real right now. Dude, they look like completely different ethnicities. They just look so similar. It had to be our guy. No, bruh. Are we dead ass? Exactly. Exactly. Oh my god, hold on. I gotta play it back. Hold on.
I went
Oh, Melinda,
I first
wait.
wanted to look
Okay, hi, Melinda.
at Earl Mann's picture. I went online under the Ohio offender search, and I pulled up his
That doesn't even look like the
picture,
picture.
and it was uncanny how Clarence and him looked
Those are completely different
so
human beings.
similar.
But that wasn't all.
That wasn't all.
Now, Melinda understood why her niece Brooke Sutton was forced to sit outside the neighbor's house for...
Okay. Melinda might be clinically insane. Sorry. Unless she cracks it, then she's the goat. But, like, come on.
Nearly an hour after the attack.
That assumption is
Because
completely
the home
incorrect.
belonged
I'm
to
sorry.
Earl Mann and his common-law wife.
Oh my god.
It was like a light bulb that went off in my head, and I'm
Melinda,
thinking,
come on.
wow, is this too unreal or not? What would be a normal person's reaction to a child showing up at your door saying your grandmother's been killed and you're bloody and a mess? What would your reaction be? It wasn't what her reaction was, definitely.
We ended up getting the rap sheet of Earl Man. It was just pages and pages long. And most of the things started off with the word aggravated beforehand. You know, a lot of violence type offenses.
Melinda now had a pretty good idea who committed this crime. But she needed to find some way to prove it.
Saying that they look similar ain't gonna work.
From forensic files.
Wait.
Melinda first tried
Hold,
learned from forensic files. Melinda first tried to get his saliva.
Oh my god.
I started
the
writing
fucking blizzard.
Earl Man some letters. I gave him a brief description of what I look like, which is totally different than what I really look like. And just that I was kind of a lonely person, and
dude, Melinda is LARPing this shit to hell.
But
oh
you
my
know,
god.
it's kind of sickening to me.
Is it actually gonna work?
The objective there was to see if she could get saliva on the envelope flap if he were to write back to her. What an amazing effort to try to get someone's DNA.
I wanted him to feel like, wow, I could really get some money off of this chick, you know? And I never received a letter.
Then Melinda discovered that Man was not only in the same prison as her husband Clarence, but their cells were fairly close.
Come to find out that Earl Man is actually in the same pod as Clarence, as the same housing pod.
Oh my god.
Which probably consisted of 30 to 35 people.
So Melinda decided to involve Clarence in the investigation using another technique she learned from television.
What? Which
How
one
to
now?
collect someone's DNA sample without them knowing.
Oh my god.
They were getting discarded trash, discarded cigarette butts.
The freaking blizzard.
Paper cups out of the trash after they'd been thrown away. So I knew at that point that it no longer belongs to you if you discard it.
Melinda told Clarence to follow Earl Man with a clean tissue and baggie on hand at all times.
I really didn't tell Clarence a lot about the DNA extractions that I was getting, but a cigarette butt would have been sufficient if he smoked, and he certainly did smoke.
Clarence did as instructed. And one day, he watched as Earl Man left a cigarette butt in a clean ashtray.
Holy W. God, what the hell?
He picked it up with the tissue, put it in the baggie, sealed it, and then put it in his Bible to flatten it and to conceal it until he could get it out of the prison, which I have never heard anybody ever getting DNA from inside the prison and sending it out to have it tested. Never heard of that.
Melinda sent Man's cigarette butt for forensic testing at her own expense. And just as she expected, Earl Man's DNA matched the bodily fluid on the swab from her mother's autopsy.
No way.
Oh my God, my hands went up in the air and I'm like, and in the very next instant, it was, oh my God, that is a person who murdered my mom. I now know for sure. Which was difficult.
But amazingly, the court denied her motion for a new trial yet again.
What?
So, to free her husband, Melinda had to do one last thing.
What the hell did Melinda do?
After 6 long years of trying to prove Clarence Elkin's innocence, his wife Melinda and her representatives decided to bypass the local judicial process and go to the top, the Attorney General for the state of Ohio.
Wow.
A prosecutor has a first obligation to do justice. The more I looked at this case, the more I felt that there had been an injustice.
Oh, that is going to get really annoying.
Attorney
really
General
quick.
Petro knew that the state had ways to either prove or disprove this notion that Earl Man's DNA was somehow falsified, and he didn't hesitate to use it.
We had Earl Man's DNA in our database because we take DNA from every convicted felon, and so we had his DNA. We did confirm that it did match directly with the DNA taken from the crime scene.
In December of 2005, more than 6 years after he was wrongfully convicted, Clarence Elkins was a free man.
Damn.
It's just a time of joy and happy tears.
Sadly, even though Melinda was responsible for Clarence's freedom, their marriage did not survive the
Are
ordeal.
you fucking
They
serious?
divorced shortly after he was released.
Oh nah,
I
L.
wish him the
Clarence,
best, and I
bruh.
think this, with us not being together, is his chance for a new life. And
What the fuck?
it's just simply part of the devastated state that has been put on us.
That woman was
our
working
marriage.
tirelessly,
It's
bro,
gone.
to get you out of
To
prison.
no fault.
Fumbled in the end so genuinely. They were already there.
He never blamed me.
And bro
Clarence
just
never blamed me. And
literally
I really would have
empty
blamed myself
netter
if I
and
were
bro
him.
kicked it into the stands.
Cause I'd be angry if someone
Oh my
put me in
god.
prison for something that I didn't do.
What the fuck?
Prosecutors believe Earl Mann's target, the night of the murder, was Brooke Sutton. But her grandmother woke up, fought to protect her, and paid with her life.
Oh my god.
Brooke saw Mann briefly before running away. He then assaulted her and left her for dead. The next morning, when Brooke regained consciousness, she ran to a neighbor's house for help. Ironically, she ended up on the doorstep of the man who tried to kill her just a few hours earlier.
Whoa.
The
Damn.
DNA evidence against Earl Mann is overwhelming. It's compelling. It's as absolute as you can possibly get in a criminal case, as far as I've ever seen.
In August of 2008, Earl Mann pled guilty to the rape and murder of Judy Johnson and will
best be.
spend an additional 55 years in prison. Melinda now spends her time working for the Ohio Innocence Project, still fighting for people who have been wrongfully convicted.
We survived this, and now my sons are attending police academy because they want to make a difference in the world. They want this to never happen to someone again.
Had Melinda not had the faith and the drive to see this through, to create the stir, to create the momentum, Clarence Elkins would still be in prison.
And I think that with the show and Forensic Files and all the experts that you have that come on the show and give details of how this works is another phenomenal thing that people need to pay attention to, because this could happen to anybody.
Without Melinda's efforts, let's face it, Clarence Elkins would still be in prison.
And they fucking divorced. What the fuck? Soon after bro got out of jail, they divorced. I wonder who like how do you say this? Like, who was the cause of it? Love is dead, genuinely. What is love, chat? It's not real, I fear. It was they say that it's because of the new generations. This was in like 19 something. Y'all are fucking crazy. Bro probably called her oh my god. Bro probably thought that she was so clingy because she needed him back in back out of prison. And bro was like, nah, you're too needy, bro. This shit, oh my god, hell nah. Bro, Clarence, what the fuck is wrong with you, dog? Like, what the fuck? You can't even save your damn husband from prison anymore. Alright. Next episode, gonna try to find something that has a compelling title. The reason why it's all but certain is because it's about cigarette butts. I thought it was gonna be about the other one. My bad. That's on me. not open another window, please. This one is called Quite a Spectacle. Will it be good? I don't know. Let's find out. If it's bad, I have a close second.
It was one of the strangest cases in Canadian history.
Canada.
A squashed piece of fruit and a tiny pinpoint reflection in a picture was the only evidence. But was it enough to catch a killer?
Probs was. Usually is. Dude, Sammy, I keep looking at your comment about fumbled in the end zone. I keep giggling to myself. Oh my god.
On June 19, 1989,
oh my God.
There was a thunderstorm in Collingwood, Ontario. But the rain didn't stop 33-year-old Debbie Timlock from venturing out that night.
She was a pretty vivacious woman that loved to ski, and I had a sailboat in the harbor. She liked to sail, and she liked people.
Debbie, a single mother, left her 6-year-old daughter Lacey at her parents' home for the night.
Debbie and a few of her friends went to a local restaurant where they visited with each other, and it was later in the evening when Debbie and her friends said goodbye to each other in the parking lot.
Her friend said Debbie left alone and presumably went straight home. At 3:25 in the morning, however, she phoned police to report she had been attacked.
She indicated she had been assaulted. I don't believe she was in total understanding of what had occurred. She was struggling to stay conscious.
But by the time police arrived, it was too late.
Fuck.
When I entered through the door of the apartment, I could see that there was an unclothed female body laying on her back next to the couch.
Beside her left arm, which was outstretched, was the handset of a telephone. There was a great deal of blood on the floor.
It was like something like this couldn't happen, you know? It's a small town, and why, you know?
Investigators followed the trail of blood through the hallway and found a pair of metal frame eyeglasses and a woman's shoe, both covered in blood.
Upon entering Debbie Timlock's bedroom, we noticed blood on the waterbed, blood on different articles of clothing and sheets, as well as a comforter that were either on the bed or on the floor. There was also blood stains and some blood spatter on a headboard of the bed.
Investigators also found evidence of activity in the kitchen.
The kitchen was disheveled. It appeared the entry was through the kitchen window, which was a ground level apartment. There had been some disturbing of dishes and that type of thing that had been in the kitchen sink.
Outside the kitchen window was an area partially hidden behind some greenery. On the ground, investigators noticed a tomato.
A tomato?
Debbie Timlock had a tomato on her windowsill ripening, and the tomato had likely been dragged out onto the ground when the suspect had pulled the blinds out of the window.
When we noticed the tomato, it was quite obvious that there was a partial footwear impression on the tomato itself.
They photographed the tomato, then put it in Debbie's refrigerator to preserve it.
In
Police
her
found
own
no
refrigerator.
foreign fingerprints in the apartment, and there were no valuables missing. So investigators had to ask, who would have wanted Debbie dead? That question produced a few troubling answers. At Debbie Timlock's autopsy, the medical examiner found she had been sexually assaulted and stabbed to death.
She died of a stab wound to the heart. He also found that there was a stab wound to the back which penetrated her spinal cord.
The pathologist concluded that Debbie was paralyzed from the waist down when she crawled to the telephone to call police.
I believe when Debbie is told by the ambulance, help is on the way, she responds, thank you, and I believe at that point she died.
In a search for Debbie's killer, investigators found a possible lead. 4 years earlier, Debbie lived with a man named Ron Osborne, who had been involved in a drug smuggling ring.
In 1985, 10 persons were investigated for attempting to smuggle drugs from the United States into Canada.
Authorities had evidence that Osborne transported illegal drugs in a boat from Jamaica to Florida. At Osborne's trial, Debbie reluctantly testified against him.
Debbie testified that Ron Osborne had told her that he had been on a boat for a 2-month period. This boat is the one that was subsequently found to have storage compartments where the drugs had been stored.
Osborne was in prison at the time of Debbie's murder, but investigators checked to see whether any of the other defendants might have killed her.
Transcripts of the drug smuggling case were reviewed, along with interviews of the investigating officers to determine where all the players actually were and how the entire investigation unfolded.
Detectives concluded there was no connection to Debbie's murder.
To us, it made no sense that a small player like Debbie Timlock would be murdered in this drug investigation because she really had very little to do with it.
As a matter of routine, police also interviewed Debbie's ex-husband. The couple had been divorced for 4 years and shared custody of 6-year-old Lacey.
He was a good guy, and it just happens that they don't, some people just don't get along together.
It was an amiable divorce. Both parties had got on with their lives and gone in different directions, and the ex-husband of Debbie was alibied up. He was at home that night.
So investigators focused on the evidence left at the scene, the pair of eyeglasses and the tomato with the foot impression.
The tomato.
We knew right away that we had a pattern in the tomato, and we knew right away that it was a herringbone pattern.
When the film was developed and analyzed, the flesh in the photo created distinct shadows.
We could see
No
that
way.
along with the herringbone pattern was a second pattern, or more detail than we had first been able to see, which was an S shape that came through the herringbone pattern.
Next, investigators analyzed the eyeglasses. They found Debbie's blood on the glasses, which told a story.
Both of the arms were folded, which to us, we believe had fallen out of someone's pocket. Debbie had dragged herself to the phone from the bedroom and had actually dragged herself over those glasses.
Since Debbie didn't wear glasses, investigators assumed they belonged to the killer. The pair was inexpensive, and the lenses didn't fit properly in the frame.
The lens itself didn't exactly match the contour of the metal piece at the top, so creating a sort of a gap in the appearance of the lenses.
Jesus.
It was clear they'd been worn for some time. And there was a size discrepancy between the two lenses.
It was as if a portion of the lens had been ground off so that they just weren't the same shape, which is highly unusual.
Then, investigators got an important lead. They learned that Debbie's former next-door neighbor was 23-year-old James Brown, a one-time Olympic hopeful.
Okay.
Brown had had some success in the sport of wrestling and had actually been to Japan, where he'd hoped to further that and maybe have a shot at an Olympic spot on the team.
Debbie told friends that Brown had made advances towards her.
He did have a criminal record. He had been convicted of a number of offenses in the past, mainly for assaults, thefts, and break-and-enters.
That is why Brown came on the radar screen quite rapidly. He had done some time in jail, but never more than 3 months.
When questioned, Brown denied any involvement in Debbie's murder and said he was out of town on the night of the crime.
He indicated that he had been at a hotel where he was assaulted by persons unknown, and as a result of that, he went to the ground and he woke up on the side of the road several miles away.
Brown had scratches on his face, which he said came from the assault. Given his size, detectives were skeptical of his story.
She assaulted
He was a man, some 6'3" in height, large structure, about 350 some pounds.
Jesus!
Wide shoulders, extremely wide fists.
Bro was a monster. What?
And detectives
Hold on,
noticed
do they have a picture?
About 350 some pounds.
Holy fuck!
Wide shoulder structure.
Hold on.
Brown had
up on the skis to the road several.
Hold on, I'll show you, Sammy. I'll show you. Hold on.
Miles away.
Brown had scratches on his face, which he said came from the assault. Given his size,
holy fucking huge! Look at that guy.
Skeptical of his story.
Fuck.
He was a man, some 6'3" in height, large structure, about 350 some pounds.
I bet you could, honestly.
Shoulders.
You know what else could take him?
Extremely
a
wide
gun.
fists.
In GTA, of course. In GTA.
And detectives.
Now that dude is huge, though. Jesus, what a fucking goddamn.
Noticed something else. In his mugshots from a previous arrest, Brown was wearing glasses.
Oh, nah.
The prime suspect in Debbie Timlock's murder was her former next-door neighbor, a convicted criminal, Jim Brown. During questioning, he wasn't wearing glasses, although he admitted owning a pair for reading, but claimed he lost them. This gave detectives an opportunity to tie Brown to the glasses found at the murder site. They removed Debbie's blood from the glasses and had an officer pose as a nurse and offer them to Brown.
Let us know if they're yours or not, or what we do, or...
No, they're not.
Jim smelled a rat. He looked at the glasses and said they were not his.
It doesn't mean they're not his.
He sensed something fishy, y'all. He's on to you. Oh
Police
no,
searched
I'm gonna have to go
Brown's
get more
apartment
sand.
and his car.
We found a pair of blue canvas running shoes on the floor of the rear right passenger side of the vehicle.
We believe they were manufactured in Czechoslovakia and were actually purchased by the Ontario government and were provided to inmates in the provincial system.
I still need to do this bottom layer. Fuck.
They also appeared to have the same distinctive tread pattern as the print on the tomato outside Debbie's window.
There was a specific part of a design, which I'll refer to here as either an S shape or a stylized 7, that became very apparent in the photograph. That really piqued my interest.
But forensic investigator Jerry Webb had a problem. He needed to know if the weight of a 350-pound man created a different kind of shoe impression on a tomato than one you get by copying the shoe impression on paper or a transparency.
Probs.
So Webb designed an experiment.
I had a person that wore size 13 shoes, put on a bomb suit, and I added weights to the bomb suit in trying to increase the weight of this person to be more close to the weight of the suspect, in this case, Jim Brown.
Webb sprayed water on tomatoes to simulate the rainstorm on the night of the murder. Then had his 350-pound model step on each one, wearing the suspect's shoes. Webb discovered that the test impression on the tomato was virtually the same
How's
as
meal
the
prep,
one taken
Sammy? Is it almost
directly
done?
from the shoe and the photo taken at the crime scene.
I was able to take those two overlays and put them over top
Surely.
of a photograph of the tomato itself and be able to illustrate that, in fact, that the pattern matched up on the tomato impression.
Although the size of Brown's shoe and the tread pattern was the same as the shoe impression left at the crime scene, there was no way to tell if this was the actual shoe.
The impression on
Good.
the tomato
Good,
could
good,
have been
good.
made by the left shoe of Jim Brown, or it could have been made
Oh, right.
by
I
another
forgot you were
left shoe
baking, too. I
that
forgot you
had
were
the
baking,
same
too.
specific design and size.
Dude.
Since the shoes were prison issued, they were unusual, although not uncommon.
I feel that we need much
Oh
more
my God,
evidence.
Sammy! I
to
think it's
convict-
like almost a requirement in every single workplace that someone be a baker, and I'm so glad that there's one where I work. There's like a guy that is like known for being the baker at this job, and for everybody's birthday, he asks them what their favorite baked good is, and he'll make them for you for your like birthday week and for the rest of the people working there. It's literally so nice. Unfortunately, I won't be working there through my birthday. But one of the guys that his birthday is this week, his favorite is brownies, chat. His favorite is brownies. His favorite is brownies. No, I know. Sammy, I swear to you, if I try them this week and they're really, really good, I will find a way to smuggle and preserve them for you. We'll see. But trust, I could make it happen. If they're fire, which I'm sure they will be. Yes, it was actually devastating to put together that I wouldn't be there to experience my own baked good, unless he's actually the GOAT and is like, well, even though you won't be working here, I'll still make it for you if you want. Oh my God, he would be such a savior. He's so fun. Everybody there is like, it's so hard to describe, but every single person there is not typically the kind of person that I would interact with unless I was just like thrown into their environment, which is, in the best way possible, exactly what happened. But everybody is so nice. I literally couldn't, like, it was so unexpected that everybody's just so chill with each other. There's no beef, at least so far. And there's not even, it's just like, I don't know. Nobody's weird. Everybody's just kind of weird in their own way, but not weird like, weird in like a creepy way. Nobody's like that. Everybody's just a little quirky, but that's like life anymore, and I love it. Yes, you never do. No. But yes, I promise you, if the brownies are fire and there's a bunch of them, I will take one home and find a way to preserve it. And if it's bad, then that's on me. That's on me. But yes. But anyway, sorry. Back to Forensic Files.
The person responsible for Debbie Timlock's senseless murder.
So they turned to the eyeglasses found at the crime scene. Dr. Graham Strong, a professor of optometry at Waterloo University, was asked to determine whether the crime scene glasses were the same as those worn by Jim Brown in a police mugshot taken several years earlier.
The problem that we had with the mugshots is that they really weren't a frontal mugshot. He was angled relative to the plane of the film.
To solve the problem,
are they going to get him based on his
mounted the
prescription?
glasses
That would be
on a
insanity.
styrofoam head and tried to approximate the angle in the mugshots.
That's crazy.
We didn't get
shit.
it quite right. It was compelling, but it didn't rise to a level that was significant in our mind.
Then, Dr. Strong enlarged the mugshot photographs and noticed something important. Tiny white dots, reflections from the photographer's flash in Brown's corneas.
No way.
You actually use the reflection from the front surface of the eye to make a very standard measurement when you make a pair of glasses, namely the distance between the two eyes, so that what you do is you measure the difference between the reflection from the right eye to the left eye, and that's the interpupillary distance.
From medical records, Dr. Strong knew that the distance between Brown's pupils was 72 millimeters. So now he had a scale by which he could measure the exact size of the frames and the lenses for comparison to the glasses from the crime scene.
We're getting 20-odd identical measurements and observations related to the glasses. So there's a bit of a eureka moment when that happened. Bottom line was the glasses in evidence belonged to the accused, and in fact were the ones that were worn in both of the mugshots that we analyzed.
That's crazy.
We believe we have Brown's glasses covered with blood in Debbie's apartment.
There's no such thing as a coincidence in this show, chat.
Why were the frames in the mugshots gold and the frames analyzed by the expert brown? After thousands of hours of police and forensic investigation, prosecutors now knew what happened in Debbie Timlock's apartment on the night she was murdered. It was a very warm night, and the evidence shows that when Debbie returned from an evening with friends, she opened the kitchen window to help cool her apartment. Then she went to sleep. It was a ground floor apartment. The kitchen window was low. The motive was unclear, but the evidence shows James Brown entered Debbie's apartment and knocked the tomato off the windowsill, then stepped on it, leaving the impression of his prison shoes. Brown attacked Debbie in the bedroom, assaulted her, stabbed her twice with a knife, and left her for dead.
Thank you.
On his way out, he dropped his glasses in the hallway. Debbie, most likely paralyzed from the waist down from the stab wound, crawled over those glasses on her way to call police. She died before she could identify her attacker. But her blood on Brown's glasses did it for her.
I believe Debbie died on the telephone knowing she had done her job.
I recall the day that Dr. Strong came to our office in Barrie like it was yesterday. This was months after the initial investigation. It was a piece of evidence that was individual, and it truly was a high-five Yahoo moment.
Yahoo!
Because now we were able to speak for Debbie Timlock.
Yeah, I was surprised at what they came up with. So involved, it was so many little clues to have it together and put together a case.
The final hurdle for prosecutors was to explain why Jim Brown's glasses were gold in the mugshots, but dark brown when shown to the jury.
A decision had been made by the investigators to deliver Jim Brown's glasses to him at the jail. Prior to doing that, they wanted them cleaned of the blood that was on them. The glasses were photographed in the studio. They were then cleaned of the blood. And in that process of cleaning the blood, part of the laminate from the temples of the glasses was rubbed off.
Oh, shit.
In January of 1992, 2.5 years after Debbie Timlock was killed, James Brown went on trial for murder. The trial lasted 2.5 weeks and relied on the shoe print left on a tomato and mathematical calculations from the reflection of a flashbulb.
jury deliberated for 6 hours and came back
Oh,
with a
idiots.
finding of first-degree murder.
Actually, I have to.
In Canada, a first-degree murder conviction carries an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years.
This case
Holy
ranks
shit.
among the most unusual in forensic history.
It was unique. And in fact, to this day, I've been policing now for 28 years and 20 years in the forensic business. I've never before or never again had an impression in a tomato.
It was amazing how Dr. Strong, based on a grainy mugshot of not great quality, was able to determine all the nuances of these glasses and able to mathematically determine the chances of being another pair like that in this world.
When I first entered into the forensics field, I attended coroner's court in Toronto. And there is a sign that is on their wall that says that we speak for the dead. I've made that my motto over the last 20 years.
W
Recognizing
motto,
that
honestly.
crime scene is now the voice for the dead.
W episode, honestly. Wow. Cool shit. For real. Okay. Alright. Good episode. Not super crazy. Nothing really worth reacting to other than the huge man that that Sammy could easily take down. I mean, there's no question in my mind. I mean, no, no, Sammy. I don't know if you've heard me talk about it. Yes, the very small, weak man. I don't know if you've heard me or like watched my reaction every time the intro plays, but like, I'll be honest with you. The first time that I did it, it was for your benefit. But as I've kept watching it, I hear the intro and I just feel myself going like, damn, I am really enjoying this, aren't I? I'm just like, fuck, she really got me, huh? Like I do genuinely enjoy it. It is like actually really interesting, the kind of shit that they're doing, even though it was like, all of it was like 20 years ago. Yes. Yes, W influence. Yep. No, you've literally been nothing but an influence on me. Actually, that's not true. Nothing. That's not true. That's not true. That makes me sound like all you're good for is your influence, but that's obviously not true. But anyway, yes, I am 100% enjoying the show. But yes. Anyway, chat. If you don't know what Sammy looks like, because this 350-pound, very small man, small weak man, and how Sammy's able to take care of him so quickly. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. This is basically Sammy, y'all. This is basically Sammy, without doxing her, because I wouldn't do that, of course. This is basically Sammy. If you guys cared to know, imagine this guy white and with bangs and hair, and that's Sammy. That's how I see Sammy, at least. It's so funny. But so clearly she is easily able to take down a guy like that. That's what I think. That's what I think, at least. No, I'm just gonna get jump scared the next time I go to Google. Fuck. Yeah. Or maybe Sammy, should I replace your cat image in the bottom left with the picture of Ronnie Coleman? Hold on. What the hell is my screenshot button? Hold on, I'll get on it. Hold on. Yes. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. My bad. That's on me. This picture that you sent me at your last bodybuilding show. Just crazy. It's because your stage name is Ronnie, because you don't want to get doxxed. You know. All right. Hold on, chat. Hold. You were at the gym today? Dude, that's sick. I'm so happy for you. Oh. Hold on, I have an idea. That's huge. Can you tell what I'm gonna do? Oh my god. I love being able to do this. Oh my god. It feels like I'm doing a fucking like Google slideshow on for a class, but it's just a live stream and everybody has to deal with it. This is when I imagine you, Sammy, this is what I see. In my head, this is what you look like to a T. Sorry guys. You guys thought you would have to wait till the cooking stream to get a Sammy reveal? This is Sammy IRL. Not even joking. My bad. I doxed you. That's on me. That's on me. No. God damn it. No, but like I'm so serious, and I think I remember telling you this when we first started doing abs, that it's like once you see even the smallest bit of results, I have to use stone because I'm out of iron. You cannot stop. It becomes an addiction to make it look more defined or better. And it's not even one of those negative kind of addictions, because it literally fuels itself, because you're just like, oh my god, this looks so good, you know. I guess I don't know if you felt that way. I'm projecting, but still. That's what I'm saying, Sammy. That's what I'm saying. We need to go to a Planet Fitness together. I'm somehow gonna be able to like lift triple my weight or something like that on a crunch machine. God, wouldn't that be funny? Yes, hopefully this weekend. Genuinely, I would be so excited to do that. I've never gone to a Planet Fitness. But you gotta show me around or whatever. I don't know what there is to show around, but you know. But are you dead ass? Oh my god. I need to like I don't know if I've said this already, but like my priorities Minecraft wise are like completely swapped in this playthrough. Like most of the time I focus on like I guess I did go to the Nether and get stuff. But I typically do that, and then immediately after I get netherite stuff, I try to do villagers. But we went straight to the BBG, and I've never been happier, I'll be honest. I mean... And the shaders make everything look so much better. I did look up butterfly mods, and they do exist. I might figure that out sometime this week. No promises, but I will definitely think about it. Yeah. This is just we are constantly Sammy maxing on this stream. I mean, I'm just slowly becoming you. We already are the same guy, so it doesn't even matter. But anyway, I mean, hey, it can only get better, I think, the BBG. The framing of it looks really good so far. So, hopefully I can make all of the plants and such inside look good too. I mean, I will have to learn how bees work for all of this though. I've never once dabbled in bees. So. But I'm excited. I'm excited. But anyway, we can get back to the Forensic Files episode. Give me half a second. Whoa, I got a lot of sand. Holy shit. Exterminating all sand on the planet. One thing I don't like about this is that small particles essentially flashbang me every time. Like watch this. Like it's like these tiny particles that just kind of pop out occasionally. It starts pissing me off really quick. Especially with like mobs as well. But oh, you know what's something I haven't looked at yet? The Nether. We need to do the Nether. Don't we? I think that the Nether will either look insanely cool or it'll just be overwhelmingly red everywhere. Maybe it'll be a mixture of both. In a good way. Jesus. Oh my god. I can't fucking see. Just pretending like I can. Where's my house? Okay. Pause. Hold on.
High school.
Oh, we hadn't even started the episode. Okay. I said continue like we didn't just barely start it before I started yapping. This one's called Transaction Failed. So, perhaps good.
A high school teacher mysteriously disappeared. Did she go on vacation without telling anyone? Or was she taken against her will? Could forensic science find the answer?
I really should have just made a fucking boat, shouldn't I? Oh, whatever.
Not all students do well in traditional schools. For teenagers in San Antonio, Texas, the Robbins Academy is an alternative for high school students who need extra help.
Well, Robbins takes two kinds of students. Students who just simply don't do well in the sort of traditional high school environment, and also students who have failed out of disciplinary issues, attendance issues, behavioral issues.
58-year-old Diane Tilley was one of the school's founders. Her success with troubled students earned her the nickname the Miracle Worker.
Damn.
Diane Tilley was the kind of teacher who really believed in her students and saw potential in them, and they responded to that.
And she had something about her that she was able to work with these individuals and get the most out of them, motivate them, raise their self-esteem.
The day before Thanksgiving in 2004,
Okay,
Diane
okay,
Tilley
hold on,
wasn't
nether
at school
reveal.
at her usual time.
Whoa!
So her coworkers drove over to her
Whoa!
home to check on her.
Hello.
They knocked on the door. There was no answer. They looked in the window. They saw that the place was just in a state of disarray.
Here we go, here we
became
go.
alarmed.
Oh,
Police
hold
were
on.
called to the scene, and they
Oh,
knew
wow.
immediately there had been a robbery.
Oh.
It's ransacked.
Whoa!
They scattered all over the place.
Holy
The house looked like it
vibes.
had been turned inside out. Even the linen closet was, had completely
Whoa.
gone through.
I just started thinking to myself, okay, what could have happened here? What happened
That's
to this
so
woman?
cool.
Where
There's
is she
fucking
and why
like,
is her home
wow.
like this?
Electronic equipment was missing from the home, as was Diane's .357 Magnum pistol she
So many
kept
glowing
for
things
protection.
everywhere.
The most ominous clue in the very beginning was the bullet hole through the couch
How
that
cool.
had lodged in the
Damn.
floor in the front room.
Okay, let's
so
leave.
there was a threat of violence from the very beginning.
Police technicians found no foreign fingerprints in Diane's home, and Diane's car was
Holy
missing.
lag, holy lag.
The lack of
Jesus.
blood evidence raised the possibility that Diane might
Dude,
not have
the
been
freaking
home
BBG
when the
looks
crime
insane. Oh my god.
So I was kind of also still waiting to see if maybe she would come through the door and say, hey, why are y'all here? What happened to my house?
But there were other clues that signaled
What
trouble.
happened to my house?
In the bedroom, detectives found an empty condom wrapper on the floor.
Oh, nah.
And a pair of tennis shoes with one of the laces missing. Diane's purse was still in the home, but her ATM card was gone.
These have not
On the
started
kitchen table,
rusting
investigators
at all.
found
Kinda getting
3
worried.
ATM withdrawal receipts, time-stamped around 8 p.m. from the night before. Interestingly,
No! Oh, fuck
all
me.
3 withdrawals were unsuccessful.
Damn it.
But who would forget their PIN number 3 times and still have a transaction receipt come out? There's something's not right with this.
So investigators decided to set a trap. They asked Diane's bank to keep her account open.
A lot of banks wouldn't have been this cooperative. Upon notification that this card was very likely being used in fraudulent criminal transactions, a lot of banks would have just closed this thing down.
And so I was like, please use that card. Please use that card so that we can zero in on you and we can find you. And hopefully we could find Diane Tilley as well.
The disappearance of Diane Tilley made headlines in San Antonio, Texas. She had helped many students with learning problems and in the process made many friends.
Most students don't talk to their teachers about their personal problems, but almost all the students talk to her about theirs.
Diane was a divorced mother of
W
two
safe
grown
space.
children. She lived alone, which explained why no one seemed to know where she was. Investigators spoke to her boyfriend, a municipal court judge who lived in Dallas 300 miles away. He told police he was in Dallas the previous night, and he'd spoken with Diane at 6 p.m. Phone records confirmed his story.
This was a serious relationship. This was not someone who was, vindictive or out to harm her in any form or fashion. He was overly concerned for her welfare.
Police checked the airlines and found no evidence that Diane took a flight to Dallas or anywhere else for that matter. And they had to consider whether any of Diane's students might have wanted to harm her.
Surely not,
That was
right?
something that we really looked at carefully. Her students were troubled kids, troubled youth. Like I
Right.
said, some of them with backgrounds, gang member backgrounds and things like that.
While investigators looked into that possibility, they had only one sure lead to follow. The ATM receipts found on Diane's kitchen counter. A code number on the receipts identified the ATM that rejected Diane's card. It was inside a Shell gas station just a mile from Diane's home. Fortunately, there were high-quality security cameras.
We were able to actually see an individual walk up to the ATM, attempt to use the ATM card, and then leave the store with the 3 declined transaction receipts in his hand.
The man was black or Hispanic, tall and thin. 20 minutes later, a young girl used Diane's ATM card at another location.
And that one showed
W
a
yawn. It's
Hispanic
fucking
black
4:20
female.
p.m.
They couldn't really tell at the time, a little heavy set in probably mid-teens, early 20s with a striped shirt on.
On this attempt, the girl used the correct PIN number and successfully withdrew $400 from Diane's account.
I thought, wow, how gutsy or just how dumb. But then again, I was thinking, great, this is a criminal at work doing their thing, and this is what's going to lead us to them.
And the two were driving what appeared to be a Fleetwood Cadillac, which looked like Diane Tilley's car.
Oh no. I
A
hate
few
that
hours
sound
later,
effect. It makes me so
a
stressed.
motorist found Diane's car on fire in a deserted field.
When I got to the scene and saw them extinguishing her car, I remember thinking, God, please don't let her be in that trunk of that car.
Fortunately, she wasn't.
That's good.
Another witness saw a white pickup truck leave the scene, but he didn't get the license plate number.
They gave the same descriptions of the suspects that we had in the surveillance videos.
Back in Diane Tilley's home, investigators were able to find a partial fingerprint on a liquor bottle.
I think that he wore gloves through most of what was going on in Diane Tilley's house. He apparently took the gloves off long enough to enjoy a drink from some scotch that Diane Tilley had in her kitchen, thus leaving the fingerprint on the bottom of the
People
bottle.
are so fucking dumb.
Investigators desperately wanted to find the man and young
Let's kill
girl
this
using
woman
Diane's
and then
ATM
drink her
card.
fucking alcohol
They
and
knew that
not
Diane
clean up
Tilley's life
after ourselves.
might depend on it.
Holy idiot. Are we dead ass?
We're just all holding our breath, and there are many prayers going up, I can assure you today, for her.
I'm angry and I want to know where she's at, and I just miss her.
I'm afraid to go outside.
We have not found a body. We have not found substantial amounts of blood.
Something's not right.
The prime suspects in Diane Tilley's disappearance were the middle-aged man and young girl who were last seen driving a white pickup truck. Every policeman in the area was on the lookout. And it wasn't long before a patrolman stopped two people in a motel parking lot who fit that description. They were identified as 15-year-old Pearl Cruz and her 33-year-old father, Ronnie Neal.
Oh, nah.
Both denied any involvement in Diane Tilley's disappearance, but they admitted stealing her car.
What?
He said, I was at a car wash and I found Diane Tilley's car. And he said, you're not going to believe this, but the car was running and the door was open. And
Brother,
there was
you
all this
cannot
stuff
have one without the other.
I just couldn't resist it.
I
And
just
how
couldn't
did he
resist
get
it.
Diane Tilley's ATM card?
What the
What he
fuck?
said was, in the glove box of this car, he found Diane Tilley's ATM card and with a little piece of paper just below it. with
Dude,
the pin
holy dumbass.
I knew he was lying.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell by his body language, by just everything that came
Yeah.
out of his mouth
It was all in the car, too. It was all in the car.
Neal said he was
Are you
following
fucking stupid?
Diane's disappearance in the news
Brother.
and didn't want to be linked to it, so he got rid of Diane's car.
Oh, did he now?
His story made no sense whatsoever. This was just a man who was just grasping at straws.
A background check revealed Ronnie Neal had multiple convictions for robbery and had recently been released from prison for a weapons violation. And police discovered a link between Diane Tilley and Ronnie Neal.
Ronnie met Diane first through his lawn
Do I
mowing
hate
business.
how this glass
Diane
looks? Maybe
had
a little bit.
apparently hired him to do some work in her yard.
W.
Ronnie Neal's fingerprint matched the partial print found on the liquor bottle in Diane's home.
Holy
A check
dumbass.
of Neal's cell phone records indicate he called his ex-wife on the night
Get
of
a
Diane
fucking
Tilley's
grip,
abduction.
Ronnie.
He
Jesus.
gets on his cell phone, he calls Elisa Stanley, Perlene Cruz's mother, and we actually have this cell phone bouncing off a tower.
The area was
Why do
about
they
15
always
miles
say
from
that?
Diane Tilley's home.
I get that
An area
it's...
encompassing hundreds.
I guess that's just how they said it back then. But it's like, they say, like, signal bounced off the tower. I mean, you know.
if
I don't
not
know. They
thousands
always be saying that shit.
of acres.
It's just interesting to me. Hello.
It did, however, lead to speculation.
I believe he was standing over the body of Diane Tilley when he called
It's the
Lisa
same as
Stanley.
the lit up like a
When
Christmas tree thing.
questioned, Elisa Stanley confirmed the call, but
my God.
claimed she knew nothing about Diane's abduction. According to Miss Stanley, Neal told her he came into some money and asked her to go shopping. Despite this evidence, Ronnie Neal refused to cooperate.
Okay.
So police focused on his
I
daughter
think
Pearl.
this
She too
means
refused to cooperate.
that we
at
are
least
2/3
I
done with
recall
the
being very angry
BBG's
with Pearl Ann
frame
over what
and
happened
glass.
with
Huge
Diane
W
Tilley,
for
and
us.
telling her that there wasn't a day that was going to go by that she wasn't going to think about this.
And after 10 days in custody, Pearl led police.
Oh my God, this
to
thing is
Diane's
so
body.
huge. How am I gonna do this?
It was the area where Ronnie Neal made his cell phone call. A deserted field under a pile of brush 15 miles from Diane's home. Although the body was badly decomposed, it was clear
Here we
that
go,
she'd
Jack.
been
Here we
shot
go.
several times. Her hands were bound with a dark blue polyester shoelace that looked like the missing shoelace from Diane's tennis shoes. Both laces had the same tiny specks, delustering agents added to synthetic fibers to reduce the shine. And there were other similarities.
The plastic pieces on the end of the shoelaces are called aglets. The aglets were the same size and the same color
Aglet.
on both shoelaces.
Y'all know what an
Dental
aglet is,
records
chat?
confirmed the body
Sammy, do
was
you know what an
Diane
aglet
Tilley.
is?
Everybody had a tremendous emotional
Anybody who watched Phineas
reaction.
and
It was
Ferb should know what an
very
aglet
depressing.
is.
It really was. It was very sad. There seemed to be
I don't know if you watched Phineas
no
and
good
Ferb.
at all to take out of this story. No good that could come out of it.
Inside Neal's motel room, investigators found Diane's .357 handgun, her luggage, and electronic equipment. The bullets recovered from Diane's body were badly damaged, but the bottom part was relatively intact.
I didn't have the whole bullet, but that at least had the entire circumference of the base that I could examine.
ballistic experts could discern the lands and grooves on the bottom of the fatal bullets.
Yikes.
The bullets test fired from Diane's gun were the same as those that killed her.
You're looking for these matching scratches. They have to have the same type of character. In other words, depth or the width of them and the spacing between them.
Despite the amount of decomposition, scientists recovered a biological sample from Diane's body, which matched Ronnie Neal's DNA profile, proof of sexual assault. Eventually, Pearl told investigators the entire story of what happened to Diane Tilley. One very difficult to believe.
Really?
After finding Diane Tilley's body, police arrested 33-year-old Ronnie Neal and his 15-year-old daughter Pearl Cruz and charged them both with kidnapping and murder. Investigators discovered that Ronnie Neal had done some landscaping work for Diane, and she even gave him a swing set she no longer needed.
Diane took a little bit of care to engage Pearl when they went over to pick up the swing set. She mentioned something to Pearl about, you know, I like your nail polish, it's pretty. And I think she asked Pearl where she went to school.
Pearl Cruz told investigators that she and her father planned almost from the start to rob Diane.
Well, it's a very disturbing story. It's disturbing on many levels.
Bro, who the hell robs a
It's not an easy
teacher?
story
That's
to digest
crazy.
at all.
Psychopath, obviously, but like, you know, still.
On the night of the murder, Pearl knocked on Diane's door and told her their truck broke down a few blocks away and asked to use the telephone. Once inside, Pearl pulled a gun. Then opened the side door for her father.
Oh, hell.
Neal tied Diane's hands with a shoelace from one of her tennis shoes, then stole her gun and ATM card. Neal took a drink of scotch, leaving his partial print on the bottom of the bottle. Then asked Diane for the PIN number for her ATM card. While Pearl guarded Diane, Neal went to the ATM to withdraw money from Diane's account. That's when he discovered Diane had given him the wrong number. So he returned to the house and threatened to kill Diane's cat unless she gave him the correct PIN number. At some point, Neal fired a warning shot into the sofa. Diane gave him the correct PIN number, and the cat was unharmed. Neal left the rejected ATM receipts on the dining room table, packed Diane's car with stolen belongings, and sexually assaulted her. Then all three people, Ronnie, Pearl, and Diane, drove away in her car. They found a different ATM machine, and this time, Pearl successfully withdrew $400 from Diane's account. From there, they took Diane to the deserted field, and Diane's final words were about forgiveness.
The last thing Pearl said she heard Diane say was, "Bless this child."
Damn.
According to cell phone records, Neal stood over Diane's body and called Pearl's mother, telling her he had recently come into some money and suggested they all go shopping. Later, Neal ditched Diane's car and set it on fire, thinking they had destroyed all the forensic evidence. But they still left plenty behind.
If Ronnie Neal is not executed by the state, then it will really be a travesty.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Ronnie Joe Neal, guilty of capital murder.
In April of 2006, Ronnie Neal was tried and convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death by lethal injection.
Damn.
Pearl's life was spared in exchange for her testimony. She was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
If you're looking for a teenager who's going to get right while incarcerated, I'm afraid you're going to have to wait in Pearl's case. She's a deeply disturbed and abused individual.
Psychopaths are not born, they're created, and Pearl Ann Cruz was certainly created.
People who knew Diane
That's okay.
Tilley are struck by the irony.
See you later.
Pearl was exactly the type of child Diane devoted her life to.
Diane would have connected with her, and she could have turned her around.
In the end, Pearl Cruz's eyewitness testimony helped, but investigators say they could have gotten a conviction without it.
We didn't have to rely on anybody's independent testimony to convict Ronnie Neal. We wouldn't have had to put one person, except for the scientists, on the stand to convict this guy.
Not knowing science the way we know science, you know, these criminals just don't think, and that's an advantage for us.
W Science, chat. W Science. We love science here. Okay. Okay. Well, I think we do at least one more episode. And then I probably need to leave to make my own meal prep. So we got to find a decent one. This one's called In the Bag. Perhaps good, maybe not.
Up next, a young boy is the only witness to murder, but he didn't see the man's face.
Whoever came there with a specific purpose to kill.
The killer did almost everything right.
The serial number on this weapon was obliterated.
Until he made one small mistake.
That masking tape was of the same color as the masking tape that was wrapped around the homemade silencer.
It was a crime that defied a simple explanation.
The goriest crime scene I've ever witnessed in my 17 years in law enforcement.
If they had not found the big bag of evidence, this crime may never have been solved.
Damn. Let's take a look.
4-year-old Johnny Huffman was usually driven to preschool by a family member. On this morning, he ran to school wearing only his pajamas and a pair of boots. When he got to his classroom an hour late, he was covered in blood and told his teachers some horrible news about his great-grandparents.
I found them melting.
Police were immediately called to Johnny's home.
I ended up entering into the Myers bedroom, where I found Jack and Linda Myers lying in bed, and both were deceased as a result of gunshot wounds to their heads.
Apparently, the killer used some sort of silencer.
It was quilting material used to make quilts or baby blankets. It had masking tape on one end and some black powder on it. It was shaped in the form of a cone-shaped thing.
The murder weapon was a 12-gauge shotgun, and it was apparent that Jack was killed before Linda.
Because her injuries were not just to her head, but also to her hand, so she may have started to wake up and raise her hand because it showed an injury to the hand as well as to her face.
This raised the possibility that Jack Myers was the primary target. The motive didn't appear to be robbery. No money or valuables were missing.
There was a deposit bag in plain view in the kitchen. It was the money from the pizza business that they ran. There was a significant amount of cash in that deposit bag. Hadn't been disturbed, hadn't been taken.
The medical examiner estimated that the time of death was between 4 and 6 a.m. Police canvassed the area. And one of the neighbors saw a minivan in the Myers driveway as she left for work around 4:30 in the morning.
She wasn't familiar with either Jack or Linda having a minivan, so it struck her as very odd that a minivan would be backing out of the residence at that time of the morning.
The neighbor could not provide a detailed description of the van or the driver. Outside the Myers home, the phone lines had been cut, and the basement window had been removed. Investigators also found shoe impressions in the dirt. Casts were made for later analysis.
It was a partial print of the
Okay.
shoe. We did not find a complete.
Oh, Chad, I think we're gonna have to go for one more
4-year-old Johnny
large
was the
round
only
of
other person living in the
gathering
house.
sand.
His great-grandparents had custody
I know
because
we all
his
love
mother was
that
a
segment.
teenager and too young to care for him. When questioned, Johnny told police he didn't hear any loud noises like gunshots during the night. Only that he found his great-grandparents in a pool of blood when he woke up.
He had taken a Kleenex and he tried to wipe the blood, and he reported to us that the blood was just too much and he couldn't do anything about it.
But Johnny was able to tell investigators one important thing. He said sometime during the night he saw a green monster in his bedroom. Did this mean that Johnny saw the killer?
Probably.
Just before dawn, an unidentified gunman broke into a farmhouse in Bradford, Ohio, and killed the owners, Jack and Linda Myers. It was clear to investigators that the double homicide had nothing to do with robbery.
Nobody appeared to have ransacked through drawers or closets or anything looking for anything, so it appeared to the investigators that whoever had entered the home had obviously done it because they intended to kill Jack and Linda Myers.
The couple had been married for 7 years and each had children from previous marriages.
Even though my mom met Jack at a later time in her life, that was her soulmate, that was her knight in
Well, let's grab this
shining armor.
iron.
Investigators knew that the couple ran a pizza shop, but they found no indication they had problems with business associates. However, Jack's side businesses raised concerns.
Jack started a car business. He would buy cars, repair them, and sell them to people, and a majority of these vehicles would be sold on payments, you know, to help people out.
Not surprisingly, some of these people were unable to make the payments.
We had learned that if people weren't paying their car payment on time, he had no problem going and seizing that vehicle, repossessing it, and taking it back.
The Myers also owned some rental properties and had recently evicted tenants who were behind in their rent.
And we had to look at that as a motive for the murder.
When investigators asked family members if there were any relatives who wanted to do Jack and Linda harm, they all identified the same person, Andrew Huffman.
Andrew Huffman is the biological father of the 4-year-old little boy that Jack and Linda have custody of. Linda and Andrew Huffman's relationship was strained from the beginning.
Huffman had refused to pay child support for Johnny.
Andrew did not like my mother. She made him very angry because she would not let him be around Johnny. It escalated to just a heated argument, and he threatened to kill her. That's why he was a suspect, because that is motive right there.
Seems pretty valid.
After an exhaustive search, investigators found Andrew Huffman in another state.
We were able to put a timeline together, and he was placed at his own residence in Kentucky. Would not give him enough time to get up to Greenville, Ohio.
So Huffman was eliminated as a suspect. Another family member holding a grudge was Jack Myers' 25-year-old son, Greg. Greg was divorced and going through some financial difficulties. He was missing work due to some drug and alcohol problems. His house was about to be foreclosed, so he asked his father for help.
He didn't come out and say, "No, I'm not helping you." It's like, Greg, stay off the drugs and alcohol. Go to work every day, pay your bills, and you can save your house.
And police learned that Greg stood to inherit his father's farmhouse in the event of his death.
Greg Myers denied having any involvement in the murder of his father or stepmother.
He worked 30 miles away at a local car parts factory and punched in at 5:23 a.m.
We spent a considerable amount of time at his place of employment searching a number of dumpsters there, but a search of those dumpsters at that manufacturing plant revealed nothing.
Police obtained a warrant to search Greg's house and came up empty.
We were never able to locate a 12-gauge shotgun at Greg's residence. We were also looking for any 12-gauge ammunition, slugs, that sort of thing. We never found any of those items at his residence.
And they also learned that Greg wore shoes 2 sizes bigger than the shoe impressions found at the crime scene.
The inability to find a matching shoe at Greg's residence was extremely frustrating to the investigators.
And police found no green overalls or hunting outfit like the one Johnny described seeing on the night of the murders. With no other viable suspects, police were starting to worry that the murders might never be solved.
Until
the medical examiner estimated that Jack and Linda Myers were murdered sometime between 4 and 6 a.m. The prime suspect, Jack's 25-year-old son Greg, had an alibi for at least part of that time. He said he was at work 30 miles away and had a stamped timesheet to prove it.
He remembered specifically, I think 5:23 a.m. He remembered the exact time he supposedly clocked in on that day. Other than that, he denied going near his father's house.
But Greg Myers did have a motive. He was in financial trouble, and he would inherit his father's farmhouse in the event of his death.
Basically, everybody's a suspect. I've seen enough of this stuff that, as far as like Law and Order and stuff, court TV, that family's always the first suspect.
There wasn't a significant amount of cash that was going to come to Greg. It was mostly assets that he would receive, and that asset was in the form of property.
On a hunch, investigators and volunteers searched all known traffic routes between the crime scene and Greg's workplace.
Systematically, we're going to all the bridges along all the known routes. There's only so many you can take and gotten there in a reasonable amount of time.
It took 5 days to search the 30 miles of roads and bridges.
Welcome back.
And they had come up empty.
You really
but they
okay?
Still had.
I don't know how much of this story you've seen. Okay, yeah, I kind of was thinking that I was going. Well, it depends. I might go in like maybe another half hour or so to go make my own meal prep. But anyway, you really didn't miss anything from me. From the story, I guess they're thinking that they have this guy because he's going to inherit some stuff. They think he's the suspect, the primary suspect, but all the shit they're doing is really not working, other than saying, you're the only one that would have a good reason to do any of this.
One more place to look.
The suggestion was made by a deputy and a Division of Wildlife officer that there was another location that they felt might
Oh,
have
and
been
also
used
we're
for
getting
another
more
bridge
sand,
that
because
crosses
of
the
course
Water
we
River.
are. Yes.
And it was there, in the
As you
shallow
can see,
portion
as
of
you
the
can see.
Stillwater River, that investigators got their first break.
It was a 12-gauge Winchester pump shotgun. It had masking tape around the inner barrel.
That masking tape was
Oh my god, wait. Sammy, did you watch last stream to see what happens when it rains? Look, it makes fucking reflective puddles
Had the serial number scratched off.
My initial impression was
on surface. Look at
If
this!
we do, might get 1 or 2 at best.
The Stillwater River Bridge.
Oh my god.
Is just 9 miles from the
I
crime
like have the most simple brain when it
About
comes
a
to this
half
shit.
mile
I just keep getting blown away.
Police discovered a black plastic bag that had floated
Like, it's
down
so
the river
cool to
and
me. I
become
don't know
caught
why.
in some overhanging branches.
And the fact that it literally took me 2 seconds to download all this shit is what pisses me off the
Inside,
most.
police found a pair of latex gloves 2 spent shotgun shells, a green hunting jumpsuit, and quilting materials similar to the stuffing for
Oh
the
my god, go
homemade
back.
silent.
Hold on, I was busy gawking over the rain. They found some shit?
Police to the crime scene.
We're going to get these numbers up, and if we do, we might get 1 or 2 at best.
The Stillwater River Bridge was just 9 miles from the crime scene. About a half-mile downstream, police discovered a black plastic bag that had floated down the river and become caught in some overhanging branches.
It only makes sense. If the guy was going to throw a shotgun in the river, he's also going to show the other forensic evidence.
Inside, police found a pair of latex gloves, 2 spent shotgun shells, a green hunting jumpsuit, and quilting materials similar to the stuffing.
That's exactly what we're looking for, chat.
We also found other items of clothing, in addition to a stocking mask that appeared to have been used.
They also found tennis shoes, which were compared to the shoe impressions found at the crime scene.
Examination of the casts taken at the scene
Look at how
and comparison
pretty.
of those
Oh my
with the
God.
shoes revealed that they were consistent in tread design.
But the tennis shoes were 2 sizes smaller than the shoe size of their prime suspect, Greg Myers. So again, there was nothing in the bag which linked Greg Myers directly to the murders.
They were certainly concerned that a murderer could go free unless they did a lot of work to put the case together after that.
Since the serial number on the shotgun had been ground off, investigators sent the gun to forensic scientist Timothy Doerr. He knew that scratch marks usually weren't as deep as the original engraving.
The serial number may only be a few thousandths of an inch, but the compressed metal goes a lot deeper into the metal.
To restore the serial number, Doerr applied an acid solution which only works at 1 level and goes no deeper.
It will actually eat away, and you can actually burn past the point of compression. It reacts differently between the compressed and uncompressed metal, the compressed being the silver.
The acid solution removed the top surface, leaving the bottom or compressed metal virtually untouched.
Upon utilizing restoration techniques,
What the hell did I just see?
I'm
watching it back on the stream. Oh my god.
Those restored were L3, 1, 4, 5. But there was
He's
no
reading them to me like they
shotgun
mean
with
something.
those
They really
serial
don't mean
numbers
nothing.
registered to Greg Myers. Was this
God, I
another
can't see
dead end?
shit right now.
Investigators had no proof that the shotgun
Wow.
and clothes dumped in the Stillwater River belonged to their prime suspect, Greg Myers.
One of the things we suspected was that he probably sought out a firearm through a classified ad, which also means that there's no ATF paperwork to connect Greg to the firearm.
On a hunch, investigators subpoenaed Greg's cell phone records and looked for any unusual numbers.
Detectives basically went through those records on the time period, like a week or so before the murder, first eliminating repetitive calls, looking for individual numbers to stand out.
2 numbers belonged to individuals who advertised
Holy
shotguns
beautiful.
for sale in a local
Holy
newspaper.
beautiful.
One seller recalled making a sale that week.
Eugene Adams had advised the detective at that point that yes, someone had called his number, came and purchased a shotgun from him.
Adams told investigators that a man who identified himself as Greg Myers bought a 12-gauge Winchester
Genuinely.
shotgun.
Genuinely.
Adams identified Myers'
Oh my
picture
God.
from a photo lineup.
Once I get the plan,
Adams also
there it was
had
again.
the serial number of the gun he sold to Myers.
Once I get the
It
plants
matched
inside,
the serial
it
number of the
genuinely
shotgun
might be
found in the Stillwater
visually
River.
enough for me to change my wallpaper.
But prosecutors needed to find a way to definitively tie Greg Myers to the evidence found in the garbage bag. And to do that, scientists looked once more at the pair of latex gloves. Most fingerprints are perspiration, and perspiration is 99% water.
I didn't hold much hope that we were going to get any fingerprints because this bag had already been in the water for several days, submerged in water. So the chance of fingerprints was very minimal.
But just to be sure, they used ultraviolet light both inside and out.
The light will basically reflect off the surface, and basically I think the light's actually absorbed by the fingerprint itself.
Amazingly, inside, Houston found what scientists might call an anomaly, but laymen call a miracle.
How's that?
This is the only case I can remember I've ever had a print to come up to this quality that had been in the water for over 3, 4, or 5 days.
It was a partial print of an index finger, and it matched Greg Myers.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, I was jumping up and down. To be real honest with you, I was like, this is awesome.
It survived, most likely, because he touched skin oil first.
It's possible that Greg Myers wiped his forehead before he put his hand inside the glove. The oils from the forehead area would have maybe transferred to his finger, making that more of an oil-based type latent print.
With all the planning that he tried to do to avoid leaving evidence, he ends up leaving a fingerprint inside the glove with the right index finger, which would be his trigger finger.
Dude, holy
Lastly,
fucking rookie
police
mistake.
canvassed gun stores in the area and found an invaluable piece of surveillance tape.
That videotape conclusively showed Greg Myers, while he was accompanied by his own 2 small children, purchasing the ammunition.
It was federal brand ammunition, the same used in the murders.
And that happened just 2 days before the crimes were committed.
Greg Myers was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. Prosecutors believe Greg bought undersized shoes, overalls to protect his clothing, and what he believed to be an untraceable shotgun. He fashioned a homemade silencer, then headed to his father's house around 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm
He staged
really
the
worried
scene
that I'm
make it
gonna have
look
to go
like a
get
break-in,
more glass.
and left his shoe impressions, evidence he wanted police to find. According to the autopsy, he shot his father first. His stepmother woke up, raised her arm to protect herself, and he shot her too. Greg then went upstairs to check on Johnny, who must have pretended he was asleep, or else he may have been killed too.
Jesus.
Although Johnny didn't recognize his uncle's face, he certainly remembered the green overalls. It was Greg's van that the neighbor saw leaving the house around 4:30 in the morning. On his way to work, Greg threw the shotgun into the Stillwater River. He put everything else in the garbage bag and threw that into the river as well.
Sammy, don't kill me. I've been like stealing flowers from this biome to make dye.
The next morning, tragically, 4-year-old Johnny woke to find his great-grandparents
I'm trying
dead.
to keep most of it. I'm just,
Incredibly, he ran
Yeah.
over a mile to his preschool.
This stuff. Uh-oh. 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 I'm cooked.
No one knows how he possibly
I'm
found it.
cooked. I'm
but he
cooked.
did.
I'm cooked. I'll go somewhere else. I'll go somewhere else. That's on me. That's on me for real. That's on me. I admit that.
When he got there,
shit.
he described the scene in the only way he could, by
Chad, I'm so
simply
cooked. I'm so
explaining
cooked.
what he saw.
She's gonna beat my ass.
I walked into my grandparents' room and I found them melting.
I was
She's gonna be
very
my ass.
angry, very sad. He took my mother and my stepfather by murdering both of them. He was supposed to be my close brother. It saddened me, sickened me, angered me.
A jury found Greg Myers guilty of 2 counts of aggravated
I'll make
murder.
a
He was sentenced to 2 life sentences
I guess I don't know.
with no possibility of parole. For all his careful planning, he never realized 2 things. First, that the police could raise the scratched serial number and tie the shotgun to him.
Last
And
one, I promise.
that he
Last
left
one.
his fingerprint inside the latex glove that tied him to everything in the garbage bag.
When we found that shotgun, it was just amazing. It was a sense of relief that we had some physical evidence we could get our hands on that I was hoping was going to connect him.
Mr. Myers attempted to commit the perfect crime. He planned, he schemed, he purchased. He had it all thought out, but in the end, it didn't work out in his favor. Thankfully, it worked out on the side of justice.
W Justice. Was that the end of the episode? I think it was. Yep. Okay, one more, probably. Sammy, do you have any suggestions? Perhaps? It's okay if you don't. I can always just find one and hope. No way. Oh my god. Sammy, there's also a fucking Jubilee video called Who Is Not White? 6 white people versus 1 secret black person. Oh my god. I gotta like mark these videos for later. We went through all of yours? Okay, I'll find something. Let's see. Let's see about this one. If I Were You, perhaps? Maybe?
Amid the rustic beauty of rural Idaho, a retired school teacher vanished. But even though he was missing, his bills were paid on time, and he continued to correspond with his family. But they couldn't contact him, making this one of the most bizarre missing persons cases in U.S. history.
Interesting.
For 22 years, the most popular teacher at Incline High School near Lake Tahoe, Nevada, was Paul Gruber. It was his passion for travel that fueled his love of foreign languages.
He loved that he could go to these places and speak their language, and he emphasized that very much, that was really one of the main benefit of learning a foreign language is that traveling the world, you could take care of yourself.
I went to Mexico with him my junior year of high school.
Cool.
That was fun. We went dancing.
No.
That was kind of embarrassing.
Keep making those.
But anyway, we had a good time.
When he was in his early 50s, Paul Gruber inherited some money and retired from teaching.
I was too lazy.
He moved to Sandpoint, Idaho, and bought a home on the shores of Muskrat Lake.
He just liked that slow pace. When I actually saw Sandpoint, I could see why he liked it. It was, it has the same Lake Tahoe feel.
Shortly after Christmas in 1993, Paul sent his 3-year-old grandson a birthday card, as was his custom. But his daughter noticed immediately that this card was different from all the others.
It was a really brief note and wasn't very affectionate, but it wasn't sitting right with me. There was just red flag inside. That something wasn't right. I pulled out old birthday cards and started comparing writing, and it didn't look like his signature to me,
Shelley left phone messages for her father at his home in Idaho. Uncharacteristically, he didn't return them. So Shelley called the local police department, asking them to check on her father's welfare. The detectives found no one home and no evidence of a break-in, but virtually everything inside was gone.
There was a total absence of personal items, clothing, toothbrush, hairbrush, nothing. Just totally vacant.
Please.
Like
work
no one
out.
had lived there or someone had rented the house.
Stereos, valuable stuff like that. TVs were all gone.
Shelley decided to set a trap. She left a bogus message on her father's answering machine, reminding him not to forget her husband's birthday.
Can you please send the money that we had discussed?
Ah, what the hell?
Something that she made up.
What is this for? Oh, I see. Damn. That sucks, Sammy. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Or wait. Yeah, damn. Anyways.
To see what would happen.
5 days later.
Also, not to be like whatever, but I saw you had Discord. If you wanted to like do the like the joke you said, like the me and you podcast,
Her father sent
we could do that through
Shelley's
Discord.
husband a
I'm
birthday
sure.
card
Wouldn't require
and
your
a
face or anything
$25
like
check.
She knew
But
that her dad had never promised to send
that
a
would
check
be a
to her
way.
husband.
Could dip your
and
toes
I don't
into
think
the
it was even his
streaming
birthday. And so that
world as
certainly
well.
let her believe that something had happened to her dad.
An Idaho State Police forensic document examiner compared the handwriting on the check
Like-
and envelope to Paul Gruber's known handwriting
Like right
samples.
now,
When
or
the
I
handwriting
mean,
analysis
just
came
for
back,
the future.
The examiner felt that it was
For right, yes,
Gruber's
Swing
handwriting.
Society.
Paul's family, however,
Yes.
didn't believe it.
It didn't look like his signature to me. My husband agreed that it didn't look like his writing.
Yes, for the future,
So
for sure.
I think that's when I started making some more calls.
Police checked Paul's financial
Yeah,
transactions
we need to have a stream
and
where we
discovered
watch,
that he had been paying his monthly bills on time
watch more
and was
Jubilee
using his
videos
ATM
and,
card around town for cash.
and stuff.
Strangely, none of the ATMs got a picture of the person using the card.
none of the ATMs used had a camera. Not
Dude,
one.
genuinely.
So we found that to be a little
Or just like an "Am I the asshole?" reaction
Was
thing.
this
I haven't done
merely
that
a
yet either.
coincidence? And if Paul was all right, where was he living? And why didn't he return his family's telephone calls? Shelley Kepley was convinced that something sinister
Dude, I just
happened to her
need the
father,
glass to
Paul
be done so I
Gruber.
can start building other
On a
stuff
hunch, Shelley
inside
called
of
the
it.
post office in Sandpoint, Idaho, and asked them
it's not
who
gonna
was
be
picking
enough.
up her
Oh my
father's
God,
mail from his post office box.
I fucked
A
up.
security
Sammy, I
camera
fucked
provided
up.
a partial answer.
Unfortunately, somebody probably knocked it askew so that all we got was a silhouette of the person who entered in and went into his post office box.
The silhouette wasn't Paul Gruber.
Yes.
To some people in town, it
No,
looked like
you know what?
43-year-old Daryl Kuehl.
You can never
a
do,
local
you can never
handyman
do
who
a
had been
face
doing
reveal,
work.
not on stream. At least, I guess, unless you do want to do a cooking stream. But yes, you have so much aura in this stream. You have so much. Because the chat's gonna be like, let's say in this hypothetical scenario, I have active chatters that are like thinking about what I'm doing, and they're like, damn, like he even talks to her when she's not even in the chat because he knows she's gonna watch it eventually. Like, what the hell? Who is Sammy, and why is she jacked? Oh my god. Start a mystery file on you. Or forensic file, whatever. Stupid. Anyway. Back to the episode.
For Paul. A comparison between the silhouette and Kuehl's picture confirmed it.
Kuehl, from what we could tell, had lived in
No,
California
they would not.
and possibly Washington. Had a large family,
They would not be
wife,
like,
and 6, 7
maybe
kids.
maybe they would be like that.
Kuehl admitted he had been
No,
picking up
no,
Paul's
no.
mail. He said Paul asked him
No,
to before
they-
leaving for a
I'm
trip
confident
to Canada.
That if people would be okay with watching
Investigators
me and my
showed Kuehl
content,
a photograph
they would
of Paul
100%
Gruber.
be okay with you.
And incredibly, Kuehl
That's the
didn't
way I see it,
recognize
at
him.
least.
He said this wasn't the Paul Gruber he knew.
Somebody pretended to be Paul Gruber to Daryl Kuehl, hired Daryl Kuehl to be a caretaker.
So we asked him if he would provide us with an artist sketch, police sketch of the person.
What side of the person's face did you see the best?
Investigators took Kuehl's description and keyed that information into a computer program called CompuSketch.
I'm entering the answers that they provide to the question, and so the computer, with those answers, generates that sketch.
Then Kuehl provided feedback on the first image to improve the likeness.
I want to change one item at a time. That way, if it's the nose that's the problem, we can pinpoint the nose. Or if the eyes don't match the nose, we can pinpoint that. Could be average hour to 2 hours to go through it.
Jesus.
When finished, police released this composite sketch to the media, hoping
Ew.
to find the
Chat, look. Gross. Alright. Sorry, that's my bad. We don't body shame here, but I mean, come on. Let's be real. Oh. Okay.
the man who had assumed Paul Gruber's identity. But no one called. Months went by, and there was still no sign of the real Paul Gruber either.
We still didn't know where Gruber was at. We hadn't located him. We weren't even sure that anything had happened to this man.
Police continued to keep a close eye on Paul's house and searched the property repeatedly, even using cadaver dogs. But something inside the house bothered Detective Sergeant Valdez. A small rug in the foyer had been glued to the floor.
That just drove me crazy. I couldn't figure out why anybody would glue a rug to the hardwood floor. That's crazy. My wife would kill me if I did something like that. So we tore it up.
Under the rug, investigators found a small gouge in the wooden floor. It looked like a bullet had ricocheted and hit the floor. Tests of the wood were positive for the presence of lead. Police used luminol and discovered there had been blood on the floor.
Did it
near
light up
the
like a
bullet
Christmas
mark
tree?
and elsewhere.
We started spraying up the door, and you could see white marks about halfway up the door. I mean, they stand out. If you use bleach or anything else, they stick out real well.
Oh, I thought he was going to say
DNA
it.
testing
I thought he was gonna
proved
say
that the
it.
blood was Paul Gruber's. But where was the body?
We don't have a Gruber. We don't have a body. We can't prove the man's dead.
Hans Gruber from Die
Daryl
Hard.
Kuehl, a 43-year-old
The world
handyman,
famous Christmas
said this man identified himself as Paul Gruber and hired him to take care of the Gruber property while he went away on
Holy
vacation.
niche. No, it's not even niche.
This man was
It's
obviously
it's just
an
a weird
imposter.
comment.
And no one had heard from the real Paul Gruber for months.
They continue on with the investigation. The number one thing that they're looking for is a body, trying to figure out where the body of Paul Gruber is.
As for Darrell Kuehl, he was well respected in the community and had no criminal record. However, a search of his finances showed he recently deposited over $20,000 into his checking account. At the same time, there were similar withdrawals from Paul Gruber's account. Kuehl admitted transferring Paul's money into his checking account so that he could pay Paul's bills.
None of that to me rang true. I
I've
have
never
a lot
gone
of
this way.
friends. I don't have any friends that are, I'm going to go out and pay their bills for them at $500-600 a whack.
New flowers,
that I just
chat.
didn't
Or
have.
no, never mind.
The only
But-
evidence detectives had
More bees,
were
though.
the birthday cards and checks Paul
That's
Gruber
fun.
sent to his family while missing. A forensic document examiner concluded that the handwriting on those birthday cards was consistent with the real Paul Gruber's known handwriting samples. Paul's family disagreed.
I was absolutely persuaded that it wasn't. So it's hard when you got experts saying, yes, it is. And you're like, no, it's not.
So the materials were sent to another forensic examiner for a second opinion.
Once I knew what his signature looked like, what his subconscious characteristics were, then I took some of the question material, looked at it, and it didn't take long to see if it was counterfeit or if it was valid.
The most striking part of the examination was the writing of the letter P. Paul Gruber consistently had a large loop in this letter, yet in the question documents, the P's were different.
The loops weren't as well formed. They were completely missing or they were elongated.
Floberg also noticed that Paul Gruber wrote his M's and N's much differently than those in the question document. He concluded that Paul Gruber did not write these documents.
The signatures did look pretty close to the victims. I believe a lot of practice had gone into duplicating the victim's signatures. His downfall, however, was that there's a lot more writing that goes into a birthday card and an address.
Next, Floberg analyzed Darrell Kuehl's handwriting to see if he had written the checks and birthday cards. He noticed that Kuehl used the same closed loop on the capital P and other capital letters. And Kuehl wrote his F's in virtually the same way as the question document.
No matter how much time you have to practice writing,
You're like ratting
it's
yourself
so hard
out.
to duplicate the writing of another that Mr. Kuehl was conclusively the writer of the forged checks and birthday cards and addressed the envelopes.
Investigators searched Darrell Kuehl's property and found some incriminating evidence.
We found a hidden door upstairs and found military-type, dark camouflage-type clothing, throwing stars, a katana, which is a big sword.
What?
It just didn't fit with Darrell Kuehl, the family man, father, Mormon.
Darrell
good
was a
Mormon
freaking
type,
ninja?
person.
They also found power tools, furniture, even a boat, which were all identified as belonging to Paul Gruber.
Was
We
Paul
found
the
a small
ninja?
suitcase or briefcase that had his Sunday go-to-meeting clothes in it and a large butcher knife. And that really seemed strange. And in the middle of it all was one of Paul Gruber's power bills.
But most alarming was a .22 caliber handgun with a homemade silencer.
Oh, nah.
Silencers are illegal because they can alter the ballistic evidence.
The microscopic characteristics which are imparted to the bullet by the barrel itself are usually obliterated by a misaligned silencer. Very, very difficult and rare to identify a bullet with the barrel of a weapon which has had a silencer device attached.
And detectives still didn't have Paul Gruber's body.
Damn.
"18 months after Paul Gruber
This
disappeared,
has got to be more than enough.
investigators searched his house yet again. This time, In a basement crawl space, they found a shallow depression that wasn't there before. The ground had apparently settled.
We worked for 2 days. We sifted every 5-gallon bucket full of dirt. We went square by square, a couple of feet at each square in a pattern. We finally exposed what appeared to be an air mattress and eventually confirmed that there was a body inside.
The body was identified as Paul Gruber. He had been shot 4 times. The medical examiner removed several .22 caliber bullets from Gruber's body. But they didn't match test fires from Darrell Kuehl's .22 caliber handgun or his silencer, which can impart its own characteristics on the bullet.
The
Any
mountains
slight
have
change
to be
in the
getting
position of that
enhanced
silencer.
by the fucking shaders. Like, why do they look so good? They do not always be looking this good. I don't know. I'm going insane. Look at the fucking... You can see, like, the sun rays or some shit. What the hell? Whatever. Enough glazing. Enough glazing.
Relative to the weapon will cause the bullet to strike different parts of the silencer from shot to shot. And once that occurs, you're not going to make an identification.
Nevertheless, investigators had more than enough evidence to charge Darrell Kuehl with murder. Kuehl's first order of business was to plan his escape.
An inmate testified that Darrell Kuehl had offered him money and a car to kill the prison transport officers who were taking Darrell back. This person was getting out of jail before Darrell was going to be transported.
$5,000 for me and $5,000 for Harvey and $5,000 for Howard. We thought we were going pretty cheap there.
Kuehl thought he'd soon be a free man, but the investigators knew better.
The 2 officers were actually doing the transport. They said, Darrell, we know about your plot, that you're going to have us killed. Those guys turned state's evidence, and they said that he was just crushed at that point.
Prosecutors believe Darrell Kuehl orchestrated an elaborate plan to kill Paul Gruber and steal his money.
This was a crime motivated by greed. Paul Gruber had things that Darrell Kuehl
As
wanted.
frickin' always,
He needed more money. And 6 kids, 7 kids, however many he had. That's a lot of groceries.
Apparently,
they
Paul
doubled
Gruber
down.
hired Darrell Kuehl for handyman work around the house and soon gained his confidence. Sometime after Christmas, prosecutors believe Kuehl went to Paul's home armed with his .22 caliber handgun and shot him 4 times. One bullet missed, ricocheted off the floor, leaving a gouge in the wood. Luminol tests show that he dragged Paul's body into the crawl space, wrapped him in plastic, and buried him underneath his own house. Kuehl cleaned the blood from the floor and glued the rug over the gouge created when the bullet ricocheted. With Paul dead, Kuehl now had unfettered access to Paul's records, his ATM card, his PIN number,
Oh my God.
his checks, his social security number. He had everything he needed to assume Paul's identity. He started writing checks in Paul's name and withdrawing money from his accounts. His handwriting may have fooled one document examiner, but it didn't fool Paul's daughter, who knew right away
Oh my God.
it wasn't her father's handwriting.
I hate this
She
addition
set a
to
trap
Minecraft.
by leaving some
The
inaccurate
fucking
information
hypothermia
about her
update.
husband's birthday on her father's
Fuck
answering
off.
machine. Kuehl fell right into the trap, sending the birthday card on the wrong date.
Okay.
It was a takeover homicide where it wasn't just a homicide, but afterwards the suspect took over the life of the victim, financial matters, paid bills, paid the mortgage, wrote out checks and birthday cards to the grandkids, tried to keep the persona of the victim alive so that he could extract more funds from the victim.
At his trial, Darrell Kuehl insisted he was innocent. He denied signing Paul's name on his checks and sending the birthday cards to Paul's family. He pointed to the opinion of the first forensic document examiner as proof. So what did prosecutors do? They asked scientists to swab the back of the stamp on the birthday cards, and they found saliva. Its DNA matched Darrell Kuehl.
Of course it did.
There was roughly 1 million people in Idaho, so when you have a 1 in a million on a DNA, that tells you that if everybody in Idaho is in the same room, this is still the only person it could be.
I felt a lot happier to know that I wasn't going to be the only one testifying to the identity of the writer, but also the DNA was going to corroborate my findings.
After a 3-week
My
trial,
God.
Kuehl was
I need to
convicted
stop
of
yawning.
first-degree murder, grand theft, and forgery. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.
Damn, bruh.
At first, we're skeptical. The handwriting tells us, don't be skeptical, keep digging. Later on, we find evidence of blood, have confirmed for us that yes, you have blood here, yes, you probably have a crime scene, putting us on the right track. And lastly, the DNA. I think that's the nail in the coffin right there.
W episode. Well, once again, not super like reactable, if that makes sense, but still good. Still good episode. I mean, you know how it be. All of them can't be some crazy husband killing wife, you know. Those are always something else. No crazy wife. Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so here's my plan, Sammy. I'm probably going to finish up the glass on the BBG like in a few minutes here. If not in, very, very soon. And then I'll probably stop streaming, go do meal prep stuff, and then maybe I'll come back. I don't know. Seems like a lot, but I don't know. Might be crazy. I don't know if you would be available to show up, but I definitely will be able to. So, I'll keep you updated. Hopefully not pure orange, but it'll definitely have most of the same elements. Just at least not all the peppers match the color now too, so that should be good. Steaks for dinner. You gotta let me know how that goes. Is this the first time in a while that you've had steaks? Right? Did you? Okay. I'll berate you with questions, then you can answer them as you go. Are they like fillets? Are they like small, or are they like what the hell are they? What the hell is it? What the hell's the long one? What the fuck am I? What am I thinking of? It's not ribeye. It's what the fuck? Can you tell I haven't had a steak in a long time? The fucking... Oh my god. For fuck's sake. Yeah, probably sirloin. Or New York strip. Is it a strip? That's the other one, I think. Here. Which we're looking at it raw. What does it look like? Here we go. Here we go. Or perhaps this would be better. These look like AI generated images. But I got you. Well, good luck. You know, I know it's been a while, but give it a fair chance at first, at least. You know, don't write it off immediately. Trust, because if this one's bad, then I really either gotta perform or maybe I just give up. And don't make you eat a steak. But yes, but anyway, glass is done on the BBG. Oh fuck, I gotta get this dirt out of here. Hold on. Trust. Don't look yet. Don't look, Sammy. Don't look. I'm gonna clear out this area more. But my god. You're just looking at steaks. Hold on. Oh my god, there's no good fucking vantage point. Hold on, stop looking. Just keep looking at the steaks. Whoa, how'd I get up here? Holy cinema! You can look now. Jesus. My god. Oh my god, don't worry. You've been looking at steaks this whole time. Cinema. Cinema. Oh my god. Yep, nope, I got it. I understood. Holy peak. Damn. The BBG is looking insane. Oh my god, look at the colors. Look at the fucking colors. What the fuck? Holy cotton candy clouds, dude. Oh, and then it's changed. All right. In all its glory. I just can't wait to put a shitload of plants inside of it. No, that looked so cool, didn't it? Oh my god. Then we got the freaking Aurora Borealis in the sky. Holy peak! I can't stop looking at things. Oh my lord. My god. Holy fucking peak. Damn. But anyway, I think for now I'm going to call it. I got to go cook. Hopefully it doesn't all go down in flames. It shouldn't, but you never know. I'll keep you posted, Sammy. I'll send you pictures if it's all burnt or burnt down or whatever. But anyway, yes, I'm gonna the fucking steaks. I didn't even realize. Holy shit. I'm so sorry. But anyway, talk to you later. I will probably stream again in a few hours. Yes, I will totally let you know how it goes. As it goes. Maybe I'll try to film me taking the sweet potatoes out of the oven so that you can see that my fire alarm will go off no matter what is being cooked in there. Just pissing me off. I just don't get it. But anyway, sweet potato reveal. Is that what that's? Is that what the? Wait. SP is SP for sweet potato, or am I stupid? Oh my god. But anyway, sweet potato. Yep. I figured. Oh, excuse me. I'm new. You can't call me fake yet. Real knowers no SP. My bad. I thought you meant super potato. I don't know. My initial thought was sweet potato, but I didn't want to sound stupid. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna cook. I'm not gonna stream it. I will figure out how to stream it, but I need like a tripod or something, which I do not have. So, and if I buy a tripod, then I'm really on the deep end of this stupid streaming shit. Putting way too much money into it for for like an average fluctuating viewership of like 3 people. So, anyway, yes, I'm gonna call it for the stream. We have at least stopped